So today I wanted to talk to you about building a team for war. War is really sort of the end game of Empires and Puzzles. It's like once you've defeated the Dark Lord and then season two, and join a guild, an alliance, you quickly realize that really there's only two things that keep the game going for you, and that's defeating Titans and participating in war. So here's a typical war map that's just started within the last 30 minutes or so here. Enemy at the top, and my team at the bottom. And boy, my team's not doing so great. Boy, they have really gone after us. Oops, there's me. I'm still intact. That's good. But in terms of how you build a team for war, what are you trying to do, and how do you go about doing it? Well, first of all, it takes a long time to build a roster of heroes. I've been playing the game pretty actively for about a year now, and it's taken me that amount of time to put together the roster I have. If you've seen some of my other videos, I have paid some money to play the game, but not a lot. I've mostly just done this through patience and dint of effort. I have a pretty good roster. Compared to some of the elite players in this game, it's not that impressive. But again, I'm not spending tons of money. So I have a total of 8 legendary heroes. 5 of them are maxed out. June here is very, very close. And I actually just the other day got my 8th, Justice, who is just leveling and is not anywhere close enough to being able to participate in wars yet. So here's the thing with wars. It's 6 fights. So 6 fights, 5 heroes means you need 30 strong heroes to really do well in war. I mean, obviously, if you don't have 30, you can do different things. If you've seen my other video about color stacking, where you can take some very weak, 3 and even 2-star heroes and color stack and throw them up against some tough teams, and you can do some damage. But to really, get the high points, you really need a good crew. And so I currently have, I have almost 7 maxed out legendary heroes, an 8th one just starting. And then I have, I think it's 27 maxed out 4-star heroes. And just scrolling through here, you can see some of them. I've got a good mix. I've got some repeats. Then I get down to here, and you start seeing my 3rd tier 4-star heroes, of which I have a bunch. And here's the thing is, I'm at the point in the game where when I acquire new heroes, 4 stars, I don't even bother leveling 3 stars anymore. I only even keep the ones I have just for special tournaments and quests that only take 3 stars. I keep these groups of people here, the 3rd tier, that is to say level 60, at their 3rd tier of Ascension. They generally do not get into war. They would only get into war if, for some reason, mainly if I was color stacking and I needed another person of that color and I didn't have one available that was maxed out, and I would take that. But for the most part, these guys here now, starting with Sumitomo on down, don't usually make it into war. Just because why would I be taking a 3rd tier Ascension person when I can take a 4th tier? And the reason for that is obviously just the materials that it takes to ascend heroes, particularly 4 stars and very much so for 5 stars, is very hard to get. You have to just wait and grind to do it. So for instance, currently I cannot ascend anybody because I am missing Fine Gloves is the one that I always seem to be short of. And you need various materials. You always need a Fine Gloves, and you always need a Compass for Last Ascension for 4-star heroes, or 3rd Ascension for legendary heroes. But you also need Fine Gloves is the one I always seem to be lacking of. And then you have something over here that's usually not too hard to get. And then you have something here that's specific to each color. So for red, it's Hidden Blades. For green, I think it's Shields, and so forth. So when I get new 4 stars, I am actually, for the most part, eating them. That's right. I'm actually using them to level other heroes, just because if I don't feel like I can get them all the way ascended, there's not much point in doing it. Or if I feel like I've got enough people in that same role, then I don't bother with it ascending them either. So here's currently some 4-stars that I have. That I'm just sort of keeping them now to decide. I already have a Kirill maxed out. I like him. I wouldn't mind having another. I have 2 maxed out Sonyas. I wouldn't mind a third. She's very nice. Bold Tusk. I have a Bold Tusk. Wouldn't mind another. Healers. I'm big into always having a healer on your team. It's extremely rare that I go into war without 1 healer on my team. Occasionally, I take 2. So that means I need at least 6 good healers. I think I actually have 7 or 8 at this point, and having more wouldn't hurt. But so to have that really good team, if you take a look at the battlefield here, you'll see that, I mean, if you try and fight people just straight up without color stacking, and again, I refer you to my other video, you'll just find that it's very, very difficult to win. So for instance, something like this, I mean, there's a typical color stack I would take would be 3 people against a blue, 3 greens against a blue tank. Something that's become very common is for teams to coordinate all having the same color tank. I'm looking here, it seems like this team did it at least partially. I see a lot of purple tanks. Well, I guess maybe they didn't. I see green, I see purple, I see a couple of red, not looking at the ones that are dead already. My alliance, actually, we coordinate, we try and do all red tanks. And the reason, the philosophy behind that is, so people are building up their teams, and they've got, enough, they probably got, 3 or 4 or 5 good heroes, good attackers of a particular color. And they use that to stack. So the first couple of rounds, first couple of fights, when you have all of your alliance's tanks of the first same color, don't go so well because they all stack against you and wipe you out, and they think they got you. Well, the problem is people then run out of heroes of that color to stack, and that's very, very common. So the philosophy that I've been taking with building my team is I want to be able to stack every color at least once, if not twice. 3 times is better. So obviously, a typical stack would be 3 people. You can stack more. You can stack 4. You can stack 5. That gets riskier in war because if you just get unlucky and don't get the colored tiles, then the fight is quickly over and you've wasted all those great heroes. So for me, I typically color stack 3 in war. So, for instance, if I want to color stack green, which is probably my strongest color to stack, my typical one that I would do is, let's take a look here. Here's one of their toughest heroes, Agar, Bold Tusk. So I would typically stack Evelyn, Liana, and I like to just put them together because I guess I'm OCD. And depending on how it would go, I might always put a healer in here, and I might do this a lot. I actually do a thing where I double stack. Like that. A stack of two of one color and 3 of another. That's actually been very effective for me. But as you can see, you can easily go through your heroes very, very quickly like that. So for me, I can generally stack about doing a 3 stack, maybe twice, maybe 3 times. So I would go those 3. I've got a second Caedmon. I can also stack with, I have 2 different Melinders. You can stack with a hero. It's all about getting that attack power as opposed to the actual function, whether they're attacking or whether they're healing or buffing. I got some more down here. I've got Jack O'Hare. I don't really like him. I think he's kind of a garbage hero. Little John I like, but he's a slow mana speed, which slow mana speed is tough. And then I've got Kashrik here. So really I've got about 2 I can do for green. I've got a lot of red, so I can actually do red pretty well. Scarlet, Gormek, Colin, Bold Tusk, Sumitomo, Khalil, and then I also have my legendary 5-star Anzog. So I can do 2 good stacks of red pretty well. Blue, it's a little tougher. I've got Thorn, and then I've got Kirill, one of my two Sonyas, Valeria, who I'm not very high on, but she can be used, and Grim. So I can do about 2 stacks of. So I'm pretty much at the point where I can do 2 stacks of every color, probably 3 of red. Purple, I'm still a week on. I really only have one really good purple attacker, and that's Sartana. I have tons of purple healers. And the only really other attackers, I have Jabbar, I like him, but I don't have the mats to ascend him. I do use Proteus a lot. If you see my other video about Proteus, he's a situational hero where he prevents people from getting mana. Can be very useful in war, but only if he gets his power off, and he's a bit squishy, so he often does not get his power off before he dies. And then I've got Tiburtus, and really that's about it. My purple is definitely my weakest color. So, as you're pursuing your heroes, you want to be running your training camps, going for those gem summons, all sorts of other things, the different, things that are going on here. Atlantis is very nice. It's hard to get those heroes, but I would say it's better to have, a few good heroes than a lot of weak heroes. But as long as you have that depth of having at least 30 good heroes that you can go to. So you see currently here, I had 2 of my training camps running to do the legendary summon. I had them running for about a week, both of them together, before I got Justice. And I'm about to turn them off. I turned one off, and I'm going to turn this one off, just because I tend to do it is I focus on leveling while I've got someone to level, if I'm going to max them out. I don't worry about getting more 5 stars or 4 stars if I'm not going to level them. Like I say, as you saw down here, I've got about 4 or 5 4 stars that I've gotten within the last couple of weeks that I'm not even at this point leveling. And I had 4 others that I ate. I just ate them because I didn't think there was any chance that I'm going to level them and ascend them. So it was just better to just use them up. Plus I needed the space, because it seems like I'm always hard up for roster space. But anyway, so that is my take on getting that elite roster for war. It's funny, when I first started the game, I was like, well, I've got my good 5, why would I want any more heroes than that? And then you realize, well, I do want more. And then you start doing wars, and you're like, well, no, I want a bunch. And I got to the point where I was like, I wanted 30. I wanted 30 good leveled heroes. I was like, and that'll be enough. And then I got to 30, and I was like, well, no, I need more, because a lot of times the situation called for, hey, I needed to stack purple or do something like this, or I didn't have enough healers or whatnot. And so, honestly, so at this point I've got, excuse me, about 35 leveled heroes, 36 when I get Justice up. Honestly, I'd like to have about 40 to 45 leveled heroes, so I can pick and choose who goes into war with me, to make give myself the best possible chance of helping my team get points. And I do pretty well. I'm one of the top war scorers in my alliance. I'm usually in the top 3 in points. I'm fairly often number 1. I typically, in a war with 6 hits, I typically score between 300 and 400 points. I think I've gotten as high as about 435. I don't really hit much below 300. I mean, unless things just absolutely crap out for me and I get terrible, terrible boards. It's not too often that I could do a whole other video on, picking your war opponents and how do you do that, which we're already going pretty long here, so I won't bother with that. But maybe we'll do one fight just to show you what's going on here. For me, it's interesting. I've seen a lot of healers and buffer tanks on this team, which I think is a mistake. I see people doing it. I don't think it's a smart move to have a healer as a tank. And maybe we'll do a quick fight and show you why. Let's see, what is the special power? The special power is Field Aid. People don't like Field Aid, but I don't like it either, but it's not as much as I hate Not as much as I hate uh, the arrows, whatever that's called. Boy, that the arrows just absolutely kill me. All right, so this is a fairly tough team. 3,600 power. They got a healer in the middle, healer on the side, slow mana speed. Really, I'm looking at this team. Lixu is a pain just because she knocks everybody's mana down. I hate her. And Sir Lancelot, so he's got a bunch of 4-stars here. So, I mean, if I was fighting this team in a raid, I'd obviously be taking all of my toughest heroes. I'm tempted here because, I'm trying to maximize my points. So this is 62 points this team is worth. I'm pretty sure I could, if I brought in my toughest green team, I'm pretty sure I could take this team out. But is that the best amount of points that I can get for my top green team? I don't know. And they got these Ager, however you pronounce it. He is a tough tank because he's got that elemental link, which a lot of the newer heroes have, where they then resist the power that the color that stacks against them. So this is an interesting one. Healer, Sumitomo, him, and him. See, I've never been a big fan of putting your healers and buffers in the middle and attackers out on the wings. I just don't think that's smart. In case you're interested, here is my war defense team. Yes, technically Anzog is a healer, but he also is a hitter. I like Anzog as a tank. He doesn't have a ton of health compared to other 5-stars, but his defensive rating is very good. He's got that elemental link, so if you stack blue against him and you don't get him immediately, you're probably going to have a tough time killing him. I have my fast mana speed attackers on either side, just because the faster I can get them off, the better I can kill. And then I've got my average speed attackers off here on either side. I actually had Evelyn in this spot for a long time, but when I finally got Liana leveled up and maxed out, I put it in there just because she does 512% damage. I think she has the highest damage profile of any hero, at least that I've seen. She just is an absolute. I mean, she can one shot another legendary hero. It's just amazing what she does. And then we've got this one here with that one. So that one's 460. Look at all the healers in the middle. See, I just think that's stupid. Let's go ahead and now see, you can I can stack Kashrik has that elemental link, and it's one of the best ones, 94% reduction in damage. So normally people would stack red against him. I'm not sure if that's necessarily what the best move would be here. Well, since this is my first attack of the day, okay, fine. We'll do this one here. This is normally this is as one of the heavy hitters in my my alliance. It's sort of incumbent upon me to try and get as many points as possible. This is probably not the best one I could do, but let's try the old double stack with. Yeah, I don't know. Should I do this? I'm taking 3 of my 6 or 7 legendary heroes against this kind of mediocre-ish team. It's probably not the best thing to do. Yeah. See, so this is a good example in war of, it's not just beating one team. You're thinking about the next fight and the next fight. So if I use Sartana here, she's great, but that means I don't have her for down the line. And also, do I want to use my absolutely best heroes, my Sabine with a tremendous talent point expenditure on that? I don't think I do. So let me see about using my less tough Sabina. And I don't know, who do I want to have in here? This is a good thing to maybe put someone like Colin. Just because he's slow mana speed, he doesn't, it's a lot of times he won't even get his power off before he dies or the fight is over, but if he does get his power off, it can be quite devastating. Alright, so the people on the side is, so this is a pretty good matchup for me, I think. Typically when I'm fighting in war, when I'm designing my team to fight that team, my goal is I want to have at least a 75% chance of wiping out the other team. That's what I call a win, is if I wipe out the other team and I get all the points available. I'd say I'm probably right at about that 75% here. If I brought Sabina or Sartana instead of Colon, I probably could get that up to about 85%. But this is a pretty good fight for me. And watch me get terrible boards and crap out and die for the purposes of this video, which has happened to me before. Alright, yeah, so this is terrible. I'm looking for greens in the middle, or I'm looking for reds, or I'm looking for purples. Alright, there's a green. See, didn't quite get him. Let's see. Boy. Yeah, just not a good board. So he's probably going to get a heal off. Oh, he is going to get a heal off, but now I've got a green. That should get him. Alright, and there's my Allegrin. I got some... Okay, so the board did not start out great, but ended up well. Alright, so what to do here? So typically in this situation, we've got a heal coming on with Field Aid. Lixu, I hate her, but Lancelot does most of the damage of anybody that's left here. So, my green team, the reason it's so awesome is Evelyn's special power amongst the damage that she does is she does a debuff of negative defense against nature. So what that means is she works great in conjunction with other green heroes. She's basically the, it's basically a shot chaser situation. Just her and Liana, between the two of them, can pretty much kill anybody. Just because, so that's going to hit the both of them. Both of them now have that debuff. Liana should be able to kill Lancelot. Yeah, and then, now see, I could go for Lixu, but because Skittle Skull already has this debuff, and I've got Cademan ready to go, it's best to try and probably go ahead and get him. Now, I won't kill him, but I'll get him pretty low. Now, shoot, do I try and hit him with purples here, or do I go for... His mana is pretty well low, so let me try it. That probably won't kill him. Oh, well, I got lucky there. Now here, if you see my other videos about fighting, my philosophy is all about creating a gap and then exploiting the gap. So people would go over here with these left side and look, the thing is telling me, oh no, go hit him with the blues. No, what you do is you send tiles up into the empty gap so that you can recharge your heroes. And meanwhile, your enemies are not getting charged up. So yeah, as I predicted, this is a pretty easy fight for me. Honestly, probably not the best. Usually, you know, with my green team, my super tough green team, I'm usually trying to get at least 70, 75 points out of that that fight, which I'm not going to do here. I could have done more green there, but yeah. I mean, at this point, this is just a... So you'll see here with Cademan, this is why I am biased against heroes with a slow mana speed generation, is because, in my experience, fights, raids, PvP is generally decided in the first 6 or 7 moves, sometimes even sooner. And so, for me, with a slow mana speed, 90% of the time, either the hero is killed before they get their power off, or the use of their power is not was not decisive. And you can see there with Colin, it was nice to get his power off, but I mean, it didn't, you know, the fight was already long over. I mean, once I got my green stacks up and took out 2 of their heroes, or 3 of their heroes, it was all over. Well, anyway, so there's a little bonus fight for you. I wasn't actually intending to do a war fight. I'm not going to do a second just because this was supposed to be a discussion on building your war team as opposed to actually fighting in wars, but maybe I'll do another video about war strategy. I kind of gave you a little bit in here about thinking about the long term. Now you can see right here, the enemy is just wiping us up. That's because a lot of their guys have attacked already, whereas few of our team has attacked yet. You can click on here, you can see they have 44 flags left, which means attacks, and my team has 64. So they have a lot more attacks that they've gotten off already. But anyway, that is just about the importance of having that deep, deep team that you can call upon. Because, of course, as you know, once you use a hero in war, you can't use them a second time. So that's very important. But anyway, keep grinding. Keep looking for, running your training grounds, getting those summons, things you can do. But at some point, you're going to start thinking strategically about your hero roster, just in terms of where do the pieces fit, who do I need, where am I weak, and how can I build that. Thanks very much.